Welcome to another episode of Three Aficionados. I'm one of your hosts, Steve Yip, from inside my garage, which I nerdily called the Bat Cave. I'm joined by Peter Pitton and Daniel Ross there with his lovely art on the background, out of the burlap sack. And we're here talking to you about everything analog, cars, watches, new acquisitions, and we're going to share a drink with you. So let's pop it off and get into it. We already opened our drinks, so it's very anticlimactic now at this point, but we'll just make our own noises.
I'll just laugh at you for that.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
I hope you guys enjoy your drinks.
So
I noticed you're drinking a Leffe there.
I'm drinking a Leffe. What are you drinking?
Oh yeah, very nice. I've got a classic Stella Artois. Oh yeah.
Classic Stella.
What about you, Peter?
I'm drinking a Vizzy. I unfortunately did not come prepared for the boys tonight, so I ran outside and grabbed whatever was in the garage. But we came prepared. So.
Oh no, mine's spilling on me.
Oh no. Hey, at least you're not in the car now.
Fuck's sake.
Really popping off now.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's all over my car jack. Well, comes the brakes. Let's not bury the lead here. I'm right in front of the new acquisition here, the Golf R 2022 with a manual in lapis blue. With it pretty much comes fully built in Canada. It's got leather interior and it has the panoramic roof. And then, yeah, you can't get the Akrapovic exhaust that they can get in Europe, but it's a pretty awesome daily driver to take through the winter with all-wheel drive, 315 horsepower and about 280 pound-feet of torque, which gets minimized a little bit because of the manual transmission, but I'm glad that I made that choice. So I've had it for about a week and pretty happy to share it with you guys. And it's flanking the other acquisitions, the Ferrari F430 and the GT2 RS. So I'm a very lucky boy. What do you guys
Stupid
think?
garage.
It's sick.
That's
So
stupid.
sick.
I hate it.
And now it's all in
It's
beer.
so good.
I would have all of those cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which of the three would you take? F430, GT2, or Golf R?
Yeah, 430.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had to think about it actually once when you asked us.
Yeah.
A little while back.
I was just checking to see if the Golf R was at all.
RS had me kind of like. Was that?
I think I just had to double check and make sure that you didn't just suddenly go over to a Golf R.
Oh no, I mean like an interesting car in for a lot of reasons, but we're talking about dream cars versus like attainable fun sports cars.
Yeah.
So like the F430, they made what I think they made 113 of those in stick shift. Like super rare.
No one has the numbers on it, but apparently
it's an incredible car.
It's even more rare than the Scuderia.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we're not here to talk about Ferraris. Fuck that. Let's get back to this.
Let's talk about Volkswagens.
I want to hear about the people's car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so with this version, it's I think only in North America you can get it with a manual. It's the same carryover transmission from the last, but I think it's keeping me a bit more engaged because I remember it's pretty daily driverable with the GSG, and I just wanted a bit more engagement. It's way more engaging from the dynamics from the all-wheel drive system now that they've switched over to the torque pack system. So 50% of your power can go all to the back, but 100% of that can go to either wheel. So it kind of has that more rotational access to it. So it's not quite the same as like a rear wheel steer as you see on the GT2, but I think it's a pretty awesome system, especially for where you get it at and for the price I was able to get it at. So it's actually the first car delivered in Calgary, where I'm at. So I think that North America distribution was a bit behind Europe. So it's like one of the first that's come out in North America, I believe.
Very cool. How's
Very
it feel launching off the line? I've seen
Well, I haven't launched it yet
interesting
because
video reviews.
it's only got about 200 kilometers now. So I've been trying to take it easy.
Oh, you've only done 200K.
Yeah, gotta get those G-Wagon miles down. Make sure that I make 80K again.
I think you're driving more miles on the GT2 than you are on the People's car. That's hilarious. The video Matt Watson does with Car Wow, I just watched it before we spoke, and he reviews the Golf R but with the dual clutch automatic, and Volkswagen claims that it does 0 to 100K or 0 to 60 in 4.7, but he did it in 4.0 flat and then did just over 12 seconds on the quarter mile. But that was like pretty nuts, you know?
Yeah.
Like the quarter mile number isn't like the most impressive number I've ever heard, but the 0 to 60 number is like there's nothing really, well, there's a couple things I guess, but it's very rare to get something in that price point with, you know, year-round ability and then that kind of speed.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a cool car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. What are we sporting on the wrist today, boys? Let's start with Peter and his fizzy water.
My fizzy water. Tonight I'm actually sporting a new watch. I got it from my mom and dad last week after finishing this semester, but it is a kind of cool. It's like a clear swatch, and the colors are like, it's got the red and the blue for like fire and like paramedics kind of thing. So I thought it was kind of neat, and it's like completely clear, which is kind of neat. I have no clue what the reference number or anything like that is, but for anyone listening, it's basically all clear, and then the hands are red and blue. So it's kind of interesting. It kind of looks like my G-Shock, but a little bit different. So it's a lot bigger than my G-Shock too. It's like 47 millimeters. It doesn't even look that big on my Rising. But
47.
I know it's huge. Yeah.
Wrist is growing in girth.
I know, literally, it looks like it's getting bigger. I don't understand, because I actually thought, like, with my Tudor today, I used to think my Tudor looked so big on my wrists, and now I actually think it almost looks like proper size. So I feel like my wrist may be getting bigger. But yeah, that's my my watch for the day. And new present, I kind of enjoyed. It's cool.
Very cool.
Only one thing, it's very loud because it is battery powered. It ticks so loud. Like I had it on during like a test. I was like, oh my God, like I feel like people around me can hear this thing ticking kind of thing. It's just like tick, 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 tick. I was like, I almost need to put this in my pocket. But other than that, it's super comfortable. I mean, it's rubber, it's super lightweight. It's kind of cool. I feel like it's really durable. So I'm interested to kind of wear it around a little bit more over the next month or so and see what I can do with it. So I don't think it's as durable as
Watchman now.
I know, right? All of a sudden, yeah, it's like the two clear watches. I like this one because it's actually clear right through the case, so like you can see through it. I think that's kind of neat. But
yeah,
know that this is a natural succession to you just need a Richard Mille now. You
need there we go. Yeah, it's pushing me in that direction, I guess. Hey.
Daniel, are you sporting a Richard Mille today?
No. I mean, even if I had the money, I wouldn't be wearing one of those. But I've got 2 watches back from the shop. So yeah, holding it up to camera there.
Yeah.
Got a
dual wristing.
Yeah, that's right. I'm taking after you and Jay-Z here. So I've got my grandfather's Victorinox watch back. And what happened with this one here on it. So, I mean, I had thought that it was just a battery, but in fact, the movement died. So ordered a new one and had that put in. And then I've got the Victorinox Swiss Army Dive Master, which the same thing actually happened. So interestingly enough, the crown was somehow broken, and it dislodged one of the pins internally, which then screwed the quartz mechanism in there. So had a couple of those ordered in from Switzerland. Oh yeah.
Hey.
And now I've got two of my favorite watches back up and running.
I feel
Both are dear to my
particularly
heart.
shitty. I
What's
feel
that?
particularly shitty that I'm the one who previously owned that Victorinox dive watch and gave you
Well, I was just gonna say,
ass watch that fell apart after.
it's not janky. Oh, you know what? I haven't adjusted the bezel yet since I've had it back. So why don't we get a crunch off going on here?
Ooh, crunch. Is it happening?
How's that coming through? Oh yeah.
Definitely
Sounds like a
not
Porsche turbo
coming through.
exhaust.
No.
Sorry.
One day,
I'm doing
one
it
day.
all. That's okay.
I can tell you on this end, it's crunchy.
On the podcast, it is just blank air.
I'm going down to one watch because I can't stand the second watch on my right wrist. That feels so freaking awkward.
Yeah.
I'm out.
It
I'm just
requires
being here
a
on the
special
table.
Arab douche to rock the two watches.
Yeah, it's not really my style.
Yeah.
All right, Leffa Man, why don't you tell us about what kind of gold you're rocking?
Leffa Man is trying to pick up a good internet signal so that things don't break up any further. So there's a jostling camera, which is my laptop.
Doing
We're
best
getting
right
more
now.
angles of the Golf R. Leffa Man is sporting a Leffa watch, the green gold 116508 Daytona. It's so Christmassy. It's very festive. So yeah, it's my all-time winner. It's always on top. And you know, Spike Ferriston, who does Spike's car radio, he's got a loaner that he's been showing up from Bob's Watches. So I was definitely inspired to rock this for the holidays. So yeah.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That watch is like bringing a gun to a knife fight. It's like it's just not fair.
Not fair at all.
Beautiful. That's like the most
It's
beautiful
so
thing.
beautiful. Yeah, it is beautiful.
So
Yeah,
let's get into the news.
screw every time.
Now we got to immediately talk about unloading the Golf R. So the Golf R is a good short-term acquisition. I'll try to get a bit of more of an angle. Not really getting much of an angle. It's the blue hood.
The blue looks great.
I think it really looks good, but yeah, I think the Golf R has been a heavy hitter. It's been enjoyable. I've been enjoying it a lot, and it definitely ticks all the boxes for a daily driver. But there's the other possibility of exciting cars coming down the pipeline, and you know, with the way the market is now, I think that you can kind of enjoy a lot of new cars if you can get access to them. So here's the incoming 2023 or 2022 Civic Type R. There were recent prototype shots that Honda had released, and I think it looks amazing. I think it looks way better than the current outgoing Civic Type R. It'll probably stay at the same engine with the 4-cylinder turbocharged, putting out roughly around 300 horsepower. It was 306 horsepower in the outgoing version, and there's rumors going around that it might be hybrid, might be all-wheel drive, but most likely they'll probably stay to the major recipe, and then just dial down the looks of it, I think, and maybe just tune up the dynamics. So I think it's a promising car. I could see myself switching over from the Golf R to this, but you know, I don't know if that'll necessarily be a long-term holder. What do you guys think of the looks of this? Would you?
You know, I think like the first time we talked about the about the Civic Type R, when the information was first dropped, I was a little bit harsh. You know, my first reaction was not the nicest. I probably cursed quite a bit. But like in these pictures, there's certain angles where it's got a kind of neat R34 skyline look to it. You know, straight face on when you're kind of crouched down, like that one image you showed a little while ago, or a few slides back. It's kind of got this interesting, you know.
Yeah, it has something that reminds me of like the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR or so. But yeah, I think it's pretty promising.
Clearly, yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think it's I definitely agree with you, Daniel, on the kind of retro vibe. I got that too when I looked at it from that front on photo. It kind of almost looks like the old four-door Skylines that you like didn't see very often, but you saw every once in a while, and they're always kind of like, oh, that thing looks cool. Like it's definitely kind of got like that look to it on the front, but everything else, I mean, not necessarily really. Like it's just I has like little aspects of it. I mean, it looks completely futuristic in the ways, but I do like how it's dialed down compared to the more recent Civic Type R. Not saying it was like, well, personally for me it was too much, to be honest. Like I just found like I personally prefer this like over the most previous Civic Type R. I find this a little bit more dialed down, and I think it looks really good nonetheless. Like I think be interesting to see when it actually comes out, but yeah, it's kind of hard to tell with their crazy camo, but I think it looks really good. Looks kind of futuristic, and I like the rear end too. The wing looks cool.
Would you go Golf R or Civic Type R?
I don't know, man. That's like that's a hard question. If I would say for purpose of like daily driving in Calgary, if they don't make the new like if they didn't make the Civic or the new Civic Type R all-wheel drive, I think that has a benefit of it for like where we live kind of thing, being the Golf R. But otherwise, I mean, the Civic Type R has a lot of cool benefits, and I think that's kind of an interesting car in itself. So it kind of has a toss up, but depends. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I feel like the Golf R would maybe be a little bit better of like a daily driver option, but if that was an option, probably then the Civic.
Daniel, what do you think?
You know, I'd be interested to see what the final product looks like, because the current or last generation Type R is just like, I couldn't imagine myself driving it at all. Like I wouldn't want to be seen stepping out of it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I'm not 16,
Yeah.
and it just has like way too much over styling that makes me uncomfortable as a grown man.
As a grown man,
Like,
I'm quite uncomfortable.
just relax, you know, let the performance do the talking, make things that are necessary, and try and make a nice car. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Like, what is this thing? I couldn't imagine going on a date with it. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine picking up my mother in it. I couldn't imagine going out to dinner in it. And like, if I went out for coffee with friends, I'd park a block away. You know, I wouldn't park right out front and be like, "Hey guys, look at my Type R." I'd feel like a bit of a loser. I think that the Golf is where I would go. It's got the performance, the numbers do the talking. It's a nice, well-built car. And then I would, strongly consider the new Subaru.
The new
That would
Subaru.
be my like the new STI and WRX coming out. To me, that's more interesting than the Civic.
What about the GR Corolla we were talking about? See, I see this as like,
That's cool.
both these cars aren't quite the ones that I'd want to hold on for a long time. I think that the Golf R, I'd be totally fine with holding on to for a while. I think the Civic Type R would be interesting short-term acquisition, but the GR Corolla will have the all-wheel drive. It'll have the long-term dependability of Toyota, and it'll be like a homologation rally spec kind of car that would be really unique to it, I think. So that's my thoughts on it. Or I could just go crazy and buy my Watch AD's S-Class.
Maybe like M5CS.
Well, his S63, it's rapidly depreciating. And
Yeah.
it's not the 4MATIC. I don't know, but it seems kind of crazy to daily drive and drive all year round, doesn't it? But yeah, I think it's kind of a cool car.
Is this when we slap Steve?
This is where you slap. Was
He's
the
just
garage
like
not
right
big
there, right there, ready to take it.
enough? My face is ready for all your slapping. I gotta share though that I do miss the Japanese dependability aspect where you never have to worry about Honda or Toyota, because this thing was delivered with a check engine light on, and they said, oh, it'll clear. It's just because it had a low gas amount when we first did the pre-delivery inspection. And then it didn't clear after 100 kilometers, and so I had to bring it back. And then they had to contact headquarters because this is like one of the first ones to be released. So as a result, they had to replace the brake booster. So it's definitely going through some teething issues, but it is a lot of fun. It just gave you a little winky there. I think I'm trying to put on the lights there. You got
That's cool.
But that car should have never been released to you until they had absolutely resolved the issue. You shouldn't be picking up a brand new car with lights on. It's not your job to come back later.
Sure.
Delay the delivery, fix the problem, deliver the car, make sure the customer has a good experience. Don't let anything taint the experience of purchasing a car. It's just not a good way of doing business.
Absolutely. But I'll point out that you just said taint. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we're children here. Let's get into watch news here. So we were talking about the Tiffany Patek Philippe limited edition, and pretty much the only person who's getting one is Jay-Z. Or if you buy it at the Phillips auction, it's sold for $6.5 million. But man, it stands out pretty bright blue. What do you guys think? Is this overly hyped or is this real? I think that the major annoyance is that everyone thought, oh, the 5711 Patek Philippe Nautilus is discontinued. And then they come back and they're like, oh no, here's the green dial. And then they're like, oh, this is the last of it. And then now here's the Tiffany dial. I mean, I'd happily take any of them. But is this just Patek Philippe, flogging it and maybe trying to get a high bid for a buyout? What do you guys think of this watch and what it might mean for Patek?
Well, I think that as one of the premier luxury brands that makes things from hand, like we know that they have very limited ability to ramp up production to that, increase numbers, to increase sales. So the only other option is to make more expensive watches. So they know that people are spending money on them. They know that people are willing to spend the money on these kinds of things. So they're just going for it, because I think in their mind, it's almost like a why not? If we can only make a certain amount of watches every year, let's make some pretty crazy ones that we can really go to town on. So I have mixed feelings about it, but if they want to do that because it makes their clientele happy and it makes them as a company happy, I think that's fine. Go ahead.
I think the rumors were
Not for me.
that they were trying to perhaps overly hype the brand and get a lot of attention with the possibility of trying to attract a bid from like LVMH buyout kind of situation. But Stern said previously that the company wasn't for sale, but this is a lot of the speculation around like why are they releasing all these hype pieces that nobody's ever going to get. But yeah, Peter, you got to be all for this watch. It's blue, and we know that the two ways to Peter's heart are blue watches and clear watches and watches with penises on.
Jellyfish in the ocean.
That's right.
And sailors.
And sailor. Yar. Daniel's wearing his sailor cap.
That's right, fresh off the boat.
No, I'm a big fan. You know, one thing I've always appreciated and I thought was kind of cool was like the old Tiffany and releases with some of the watch companies. It was neat when they especially used to have like the Tiffany and Co. label right on the dial. That was really cool, even if it wasn't specifically a blue watch kind of thing. I thought that was just kind of neat. And this is kind of, I think, almost like a throwback in that sense. But I agree with you guys in the sense, like, it seems like it's like overhyped and the whole like the aspect behind it and everything. I think it's kind of like getting a little bit ridiculous and like how much it went for and stuff like that. Like in the fact that like it's going to be like literally all these watches are unobtainable, right? Like they're just like something that you'll look at in a magazine you'll never see or anything like that. And it's not like that's like, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy nowadays. Like they're just like, it's definitely pretty crazy as to because I can't remember what this one sold for, but it was like
6.5 million.
6.5. See, holy,
yeah.
Like that's just mind blowing. Like I thought it was definitely less than that, but
yeah, everyone's gone nuts, especially about the Tiffany dials, like the Tiffany dial, Rolex, Oyster Perpetual. That one I think is up. It just sold for something like 50 or 60 grand on auction, just for an Oyster Perpetual.
Yeah, it's getting crazy, man. It's getting ridiculous.
I don't think people care about the uniqueness or the color or anything like that. It's just people think it's an opportunity to have two extreme luxury brands in one piece. It's like yeah. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of,
I'm good with the normal Rolex.
Well, I totally bought into the masses. I was hoping to show on the interior, you can customize the lighting and the gauge color.
Cool.
I had it set to Tiffany.
Oh, that's so weak.
Legendary.
My wife sat down in it. I was like, look, I changed it to Tiffany blue. And she's like, you're a fucking idiot.
I'm so glad that she said that.
It's the same reaction she had when I showed her photos of the Civic Type R, the old generation. I didn't even ask her about it. She saw it over my shoulder and she's like, if you buy that car, I will not ride at all next with you. There's two cars that she'll shit on. That's Civic
what I
Type
said.
R and the Mustang. But
she won't go out with you on a date if you have that Type R.
Yeah, but you will. You'll go out.
I don't know if I would. Be like, I have a car. I'll drive my own car. I think Golf R is the right choice, to come back to that quickly. And what else is going on in watch news?
I think that brings us to the end of watch news, but I want to talk about what's the next step. Where are we going from here? We're heading into Christmas, and Daniel's sporting the sailor cap. What are you boys aiming for, watch and car wise, in the new year? Gonna catch you off guard here, Daniel.
Well, I want you to take the lead on this one, Peter.
I can start us off for sure. I don't like.
Let that strong mustache take the lead.
The strong muzzy, yeah, the muzzies. I was honestly so contemplating shaving it off today. It's getting so itchy. It's not even funny. But
that's what happens when you get pubes.
Yeah, right. When they come in
beard trimmer.
I was considering. I don't know, honestly. Like I'm kind of. I don't have any set plans for the future on either of them right now. Like vehicle wise, I am going to drive my current vehicle, which is my bright orange Chevy Colorado, until it dies. After that, I probably would consider replacing it with like a Tacoma or something like that. But I'm hoping that will be down the road. Car or watch news, I don't really have anything like crazy planned. I kind of just will like keep an eye out. Maybe there'll be some cool like Hodinkee drop that comes out that maybe I'll be lucky enough to remember to look at it or something like that. But I don't have any big purchases planned. I don't, nothing too crazy. I just anything that I like did kind of feel was like at some point obtainable is unobtainable now, just with how crazy the market's gone. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of hanging out right now. See maybe if something comes up that's cool and interesting. I do really like I always look for um a carbon fiber watch. I'm hoping maybe like one of the more like obtainable brands, or one of the brands like we know well, comes out with like a carbon fiber watch. I would 100% buy one. I think that'd be super sick. But like just carbon fiber case kind of thing more than anything. I don't mean like full carbon fiber, but yeah, I don't know what's out there right now. I really like that Doxa, but there's something like, I don't know, something that's still a little bit on the pricier side, and I think I would consider
I think
going for
speaking of
something like that. Specifically.
yeah, speaking of
Yeah,
crazy collaborations, they re-released the John Mayer thing without letting us know in the white case. So that was kind
so
of
sad.
annoying for both of us because it was immediately sold out. And I
Yep.
don't know if it really lived up to the original, but yeah, I wish that I could have gotten
No.
either one of those, but that never happened. That was a big pain in the ass. I even had
Yeah.
had multiple correspondence with Hodinkee about trying to pick up the next release that they had of it. And they were like, yeah, for sure. And then that just randomly dropped at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And both you and I were standing there going, shit, it just came and went.
Yeah. There was no like, there was unlike most, like at least the last one had or I don't know, last one may have been the same thing. Like it's weird. Sometimes they do like that one was just like a out of the blue drop. Like most of the time, like the Timex was a complete, like there was weeks worth of anticipation kind of thing, right? Like it was excitingly waited. I had like timers set in my phone and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden the John Mayer just drops one morning, and it's like,
Exactly.
it's not like I wake up every morning and go check Hodinkee to see if there's anything exciting going on. So
Yeah,
quite
even when you're on
unfortunate.
the mailing list, like that came
Yeah.
out right at 9 o'clock. So
Yeah, it's not like you check, like I check my emails usually when I first get up in the mornings. I don't always do it, but
Daniel, what's the aspirations while I try to make sure that the recording doesn't die?
yes, sir,
Yeah,
Daniel.
next I'm gonna have a old retro piece that I have repaired, but that's that probably won't happen until sometime later in the new year. It's not just replacing some quartz piece, so gotta wait for that to come into the budget. So instead of buying a watch, I'll be spending a comparable amount to have an existing piece, get it up and running. But to me, that is worth it. The heritage and history that comes with old pieces. I think a lot of people, I'm one of those people that loves old watches. I love the stories that come along with them and the history.
What was that?
So it's an Eterna that was also my grandfather's. I guess I don't have many cousins that are too interested in watches, so I got kind of lucky.
That's good.
I mean,
Fuck those guys.
yeah, totally. So, I mean, he gave me that one a long time ago. I've had it for 15 plus years already, and it's been running since I think the 60s. So I just had it I just had it authenticated to make sure it's legit, and yeah, it's a nice Eterna. So maybe I'll bust that out if we're doing a 1-year anniversary show or something like that.
That's awesome.
And then like car wise, I have been contemplating. I think I mentioned a while back I renewed the insurance on the car that I have, which is at Mercedes, and honestly, the roads and construction in Toronto are so fucked. It is just so bad. I hope that people in government are listening, because they have destroyed the city with their policies is just like the worst place to drive now. So, a convertible V8 has become like less enticing driving around town. So like to me, I'm becoming more attracted to something like a Golf R because, or maybe even more specifically like the Subaru WRX or STI, because it's gives a Torontonian awesome year-round fun.
Yeah.
And parking is dear, so having multiple parking spots is basically impossible. One of the reasons why I miss Calgary when I could have two cars. But yeah, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there yet.
I was able to get this, and this is only at 1.99% financing rate fixed for 3 years. So it was like kind of a no-brainer where I was like, well, that would allow me to be a lot more liquid for any other major car purchases in the future. And we know that that will definitely inevitably happen, right? So
just in case the Speciale shows up.
Yeah, actually, I think I've moved on from the Speciale. Like, the market's just stupid right now, right?
Oh yeah,
crazy for most cars, Porsches, Ferraris. That 430 alone like could fetch me a pretty penny. But the problem is that like the only thing that you can get into at a reasonable price is maybe new cars if you can get them built and turned around in a reasonable amount of time. Or there's small little pockets of some of the exciting performance cars. So the GT2 was just like, that was a perfect circumstance. I mean, I'm seeing GT2s being sold at like 380 to 450 to 500 US. So way well above what I got into it for. So I was pretty fortunate in that. And then the other small pocket in Porsche that I see as a possibility of something I could get into aside from new cars, because obviously I want the GT4 RS, I want the GT3 RS, the GT3 Touring I'm probably going to pass on just so that I can move into the GT4 RS directly. But if I can get a 993 RS at some point, that would be kind of cool. Right now, the market hasn't yet moved up on that. Like everything else has. 997 RSs, 964 RSs, everything's been up. So either the market needs to calm the fuck down, or I just stick in the new market, or I find these tiny little slots to fit in for used performance cars. I think I'll probably start flipping more the daily drivers rather than the heavy hitters, at least for the time being, unless the right car comes up like that 993 RS. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to plan to do from a car perspective, and then from a watch perspective, just keep on begging. I think the major watch that I'd like that's kind of more accessible but still a pain to get. I really want that Tudor FXD Pelagos. That I'm most hot for, as well as the Chrono. I think a little bit of a heavier hitter that I keep on trying to acquire is the Batgirl. And then like the big heavy hitters are like, the Daytona with the meteorite dial. But I hear that that's going to be as rare as rainbow Daytonas. So not holding my breath for that. That's going.
Steve's logic follows. I got a blue car. Now what I want is a blue watch. But more than anything, I want a Tudor Archipelagos.
That's definitely.
That's the one, blue dial. That's the one I wanted.
All the blue.
Matches my car. Therefore, I like it.
I must go matchy at all times.
It looks so gangster.
That is just
blue car, blue socks,
a random
blue
circumstance.
watch.
I'm not. I wasn't really aiming for that, but yeah, put it that way. That's true. Blue is in. I'm gonna wrap this in Tiffany blue.
Oh God, I would personally fly out there and hit you.
I think you definitely need to hit me if I wrap the F430 in Tiffany blue wrap.
Oh geez. If anyone does anything like that to a 430, they need to be kneecapped.
I'm sure it happens. It's definitely happening.
The clutch knee just needs to be destroyed. Just take it out from underneath and you know, anyone who does that deserves some kind of cruel punishment. They have no idea what they're doing to us fans. Steve's having a heart attack. Oh, there he's back.
That's the Wi-Fi killing me. But that's what happens when you try to stream from the garage. So this is the best shot I can get of the car really right now. But yeah, pretty excited.
So
uh,
A10 of some sort.
what's that?
I still think you should consider either a turbo or an R8 V10 for the winter.
I think the turbo I
Blue one if you
had
want.
at one point, but I don't know. I'm enjoying switching them up. I don't know how deep I want to go in for the heavy hitters during the winter because, you know, you get rear-ended or you slip around. So I'm enjoying the experience of switching through these cars and not really losing my shirt. So it's a good time I'm having. Well, boys, I think the internet's breaking up and the battery's dying, but thanks again for tuning in for another episode. And wish you all happy holidays and happy Hanukkah.
Like that.
Daniel there.
Oh, were you saying I don't? They
I
couldn't.
think you're gonna have to do that over again now. They're
Yeah,
back.
once more, Steve. Run it back.
You were there and then suddenly you were gone.
Well, I'm recording, so I'm still here. But I think that internet's been shit. Sorry for the quality, but thanks again for tuning in for another episode. Thanks, boys. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.